Alright, here is my crew that's going to listen to me. And then I'm going to have one of them go ahead and take the camera. Guys, did you know that makeup was originally made for men too? It wasn't made just for women. It all started with the ancient Egyptians. Makeup was a sign of wealth and importance, and it was also used in ritual practices. Throughout history, makeup has been a part of society for a variety of reasons. It wasn't meant to simply just cover up blemishes. The history of makeup is much deeper than one would think, and once you understand the history of makeup better, it helps you to understand the why, which also gives you more appreciation for it. I personally have always loved doing makeup. I think it is fun and truly an art. I have done makeup for family and friends, and I have even been paid to do makeup for school dances. I also have a YouTube channel with some makeup tutorials on it as well. Now, you might be wondering why it's important for you to know the history of makeup at all. Well, I want each and every one of you to understand that makeup isn't just for enhancing beauty. It is also used in rituals, in hunting, war, battles. It has a variety of uses. I am here today to share with you facts about makeup and the important role that makeup has played throughout history. I will be covering where cosmetics were created, cosmetics in Greece, Rome, the Native Americans, 20th century, and of course, today. The very first use of cosmetics can be traced back to the Egyptians. Makeup wasn't made just for women, like I mentioned. Men in ancient Egypt also used makeup. And the use of makeup during this time was actually very well documented. The Egyptians had a variety of uses for cosmetics. For one, they used it in ritual practices, and it was a sign of honoring the gods. The Egyptians used kohl, a black powder, to cover their eyes, kind of like eyeliner. It was meant to ward off evil spirits and also conveniently, at the same time, help deflect the hot summer sun. Women in ancient Egypt used lipstick, which was mainly used from ground carmine beetles, and the wealthy Egyptians would use the most makeup and have the more expensive products. Women in lower classes who wanted to use lipstick would actually mix clay and water together to color their lips. Makeup in Greece was mainly for the wealthy, and that's just because only the wealthy could afford it because it was very expensive. Makeup was also heavily used in theater at this time. They used makeup mainly on masks, and these were huge staples in theater. The makeup and masks were also very bold. During this time, extremely fair skin was also a trend, and women and some men would use a white powder with white light in it to cover their face to make it appear lighter. This was a very dangerous practice and actually posed for several health risks and was discontinued, and the white chalk was a replacement. Makeup in Rome had very similar uses like the Egyptians. They started off using makeup in religious practices as well. Men also used makeup during this period of time, although it wasn't that well documented. Makeup during this time was also expensive, but this is when knockoffs were introduced, so lower class individuals could wear makeup. And although they could wear makeup, the knockoffs were not made very well, and so they often have to reapply it several times a day. Now, the Native Americans have a very interesting spin on makeup, and it's personally my favorite out of all the history. They use makeup in dances, rituals, and battles. This is actually where the term war paint comes from. They painted their entire bodies for all these different events. This was one way for them to express themselves and their sincerity in what they were doing. It also helped them to become closer and more spiritual with nature and a higher being. The war paint had many different symbols with meanings as well. If there was a handprint on a warrior's face, it symbolized that the warrior had been successful in hand-to-hand combat. It's all very interesting to me. century is where the many modern ways that we use makeup came into play. In 1915, the very first metal tube of lipstick was created, and this completely changed the way women applied lipstick. Brush-on blush was also introduced during this time, and this is when makeup really took a turn, and all sorts of new products were being made. Today, you see many different uses for makeup, and makeup is used more to enhance beauty, yes. However, it is not the only use today. Makeup is still used by men, and yes, some men do apply makeup the way women do that you see usually every day, but I'm not talking about just that. Makeup is used in theater, in TV, in movies, on Halloween, and men even use makeup under their eyes for football. It is used more widely than we think about. In conclusion, makeup is much more than tools to make women look pretty. Makeup has many different uses, and these uses throughout history might not still be practiced now, but there is still plenty of ways that we use makeup differently even today. Even in today's world, you will see uses for cosmetics for men, like I mentioned earlier. I am very passionate about makeup, and there is much more behind makeup than you realize, isn't there? Makeup is an art and not necessarily a high-maintenance